Hello and welcome back to Valid Networks webcast series, where we talk about common blockchain vulnerabilities and teach you how can you prevent them when you're coding new smart contracts on the Ethereum network. Today we're going to talk about tx.origin vulnerability. This vulnerability can cause your contracts to lose money because of lack of access control or access control that is not working as you would expect it to be. So, what is tx.origin and what is access control on Ethereum smart contracts? On the Ethereum contracts, there are two ways to tell the modifiers to check on the authentication of the sender of the message in order to restrict certain functionalities on the contract. The first way is to use the tx.origin. The tx.origin will go to the original sender or the original wallet that sent the transaction. In that way, if someone sends a transaction to a contract and then this contract will send a transaction to your contract, the tx.origin will be the original person, the original wallet that sent the request or the transaction. The second way is using msg.sender. The msg.sender says whoever was the last one to send the transaction or who was the immediate sender for this contract, he is the msg.sender. In that way, if someone sends from a wallet to a contract and then this contract to your contract, then the last contract will be the msg.sender. In that way, when you're authenticating the transaction, the origin of the message will be the contract, the msg.sender. So let's jump to our code to explain how it can be hacked and why it's not the best practice to use the transaction origin. So here we can see a contract of a wallet, the attacker and the victim. The victim is someone who is using tx.origin to check on the transaction sender. So let's see what will happen when we will send those contracts and deploy them and try to exploit this vulnerability. So here we have the attacker who would use some sort of fallback function in order to attack this contract. We will first choose the victim and we'll send or deploy a contract to the mainnet with the balance of 10 Ether. We can see that this contract was successfully deployed. We can see the green mark to indicate this transaction has been processed, and we can see the deployed contract right here with this address. Now we will use another wallet to deploy the attacker contract. Again, we can see that this contract has been successfully deployed. Now let's go back to the original contract and add another 30 Ether to the contract. We can do it using the fallback function when putting value in the amount. And now we can see that this account is short with 30 Ether and some few way that we have sent at the beginning. Now we will transfer money from this victim to the attacker. Let's say the victim is some sort of gaming or auction or some sort of website that is using blockchain, and now they have to reward someone. That someone will be the address of the attacker contract. So we will take the address of the attacker contract and then transfer some way. For example, one way. It's a very small value. Let's transact and see what happens. Now we have transacted. So what happened was that the fallback function was activated, and the fallback function took the contract that sent the money with the msg.sender, which is essentially the contract itself, and the contract had a balance of 30 Ether. So we can see that we're transferring the owner of this contract, which is the attacker of course, and sending him the balance of the victim contract using the transfer function of the victim himself. Then the victim will check if the origin of the transaction is the contract, and yes, it is the contract because the owner executed the transfer function, and he will send the money to the attacker. Let's see how this wallet was affected. Now we can see that we have minus 30 here as before, but now we can see that the attacker has plus 30 Ether. That means that he stole the money from the victim account. So the best practice of authenticating and making an access control to your contract is using the second method, the msg.sender. That way you can prevent hacking from your contract, and it's a better way or more natural or intuitive way of validating whoever is talking to your account. So when would you use tx.origin instead? So it's not a very good practice to use the tx.origin at all. In fact, there was a certain try and issues on the community of Ethereum to remove the tx.origin. But if I would think about one use case for the tx.origin is when you're trying to blacklist some address from using your contract. In that way, even if you will initiate his transaction through some middle contract, you still can make sure that this address would not contact your contract. But an address is not a person. If some person is blocked from using your contract, he will easily open another wallet and then make the transaction from that wallet, and your access control will not stop it. So, the best way to prevent issues from your contract, and many compilers, Remix is one of them, will prevent your warning you on each time you're using tx.origin. So just don't use it. And if you want to learn more about securing your smart contracts, please go to our website valid.network and learn more about how can you protect your smart contracts. You can also see examples how our platform can help you develop better and more efficient smart contracts and monitor your already deployed smart contracts to prevent attacks from your contracts. So, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!